frontier. This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
With the top end of Stevenson, Grado!
Welcome to Football Daft, the daftest Scottish podcast around daftest football Scottish podcast. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is Bob that usually does this. He usually does the intro, but unfortunately, he's phoned in sick. Well, he's not actually sick, is he, Tom?
No, he's not. He's doing his IKEA work today.
Aye. See, I'm kind of crab it because I don't like no-shows. I'm not a fan, you know? I know his pals are going to listen to this and then they're going to tell Bob, man, Grado was having a go at you for being off the podcast.
No, you're not having a go at him. But
Right.
what I will say is, you know the script. Family comes first, mate. He said an issue with the Wayne's bed. He needs to build a new bed. So there we go. Let's soldier on without him.
Right, okay.
But imagine if you turned up for your work, right, and say, couldn't come in today. How could you not come in?
Exactly!
I was making my Wayne's bed. I couldn't come in.
Exactly, mate. And then, I mean,
Let's get it right here. There's a difference between making a bed and building a fucking bed, alright?
Aye, but you could see he was doing a bit. He was kind of reminding me of myself, and taking pictures of the bed and kind of as if I were to go like that. Oh, son. Oh, Christ. You know what I mean? Building a bed, mate.
No, I think it was more the case he thought that we would think he was ripping the piss, and that's why he put the 40s in. Because he thought that we would. That's the worst excuse ever. What's this guy on about?
Come on, man. Get a grip of yourself. Anyway, Bob's off. He's no in. So first, a man who is considering writing the new Indiana Jones film, and he's going to call it Indiana Jones and the Search for a Celtic Old Firm Win. It's Christopher Toll.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there. What is
Sent it.
happening? Oh, mate, do you know what? I've only got 2 more games to deal with this season, and then it's a fresh page. We're turning a fresh page.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I was a wee bit kind of upset that Bob's not here, because he likes to get tore in, right? We beat his 4-1 on Sunday. He would be coming in all guns blazing. However, he's already done that this week, and I actually felt a wee bit sorry for you. We've got another podcast called Rangers Daft. It's on the Patreon. You can sign up to that, and I felt you were a tortured soul the other day, Toll. So
Do you know,
we've had enough.
Leave
him alone.
It is. Do you know? It's like
Leave him.
Are you leave him? Could you
Leave him.
leave that Wayne alone, right? But it's. Do you know what? It's been a long, hard, arduous season, and that was just the crescendo at the end. The Rangers absolutely bending us over and scalping their arses. So it was. And do you know what I'm thinking? See, when it's at 2-1, I'm like, do you know what? They've never really gave us a doing. Never gave us a doing. And then the next time it's another couple of goals. But anyway.
Brilliant day. So brilliant day, as you say, and a completely opposite for us Rangers, just outclass Celtic this whole season. It doesn't need me to say it. We've had a great season. The icing on the cake for me was WGD getting a goal at the end, popping up and kind of nearly greeting and stuff like that. So it was a nice wee end there. So it was.
I know, a bit of an overreaction from him, I felt. Anyway,
come on.
Right, so we're hanging. This week has brought around some changes in the Toll household. My missus has quit her job. She's going to start her own company. So
Wow.
you'll be hearing more about that soon.
Does she want to sponsor us?
We might need to sponsor her actually, mate, to get her up off the ground. But listen, I'm going to introduce a man who we have to say a big congratulations to. Grado. The news has been in the papers. It was in Sky Sports News. There was an aeroplane went by with a hanging off the back yet. My house. It says Grado's going to be a damn. I never knew you had it in you to get it out you. I'm so proud of you, man. Brilliant. I'm delighted
brilliant.
for you and Stephanie.
Thanks very much, mate. So I am going to be a father. And it went pretty crazy the other night when I put it up, and I was delighted. It just, you know, that way, like, I mean, obviously, right, I've had messages for everybody, right?
Aye.
Texts, you name it, a lot, right? But, you know, that way, like, I announced it, and I'm going back to Stephanie. Our broth have just tweeted me. Our broth have just said congrats. Our broth. Oh, there's Peter Lovencrantz. Peter Lovenkrands just says congratulations, Stephanie. She's like, right, aye.
Peter
Cool.
Lovenkrands is like, I hope he grows up to play for Rangers like his boy. Like his dad.
And then I'm like that, man. I hope Alan McCoy writes something on Instagram. Could you imagine that, Stephanie? I mean, it's pathetic. This guy carry on. He did end up liking it, but so fair play to Super Ali. But thanks to everybody that sent us a wee message. I'm absolutely buzzing, man. So there you go. That was good news.
I need to let you into a wee secret.
Clint Hill, he messaged me, I know.
Clint Hill!
Shout out to Clint Hill. I'm just looking to know all the folk. Keith Lashley.
Get
Oh,
Clint
big
Hill on the
handsome
pod.
Keith.
Get Clint Hill on the pod. That'll be good.
I'm like, see, when I'm reading all these folk saying thank you, I'm like, why did we know this sooner, man? This is careless, all these messages.
Mate, I'm going to tell you this now. Me and John have been in a position where we've known for a wee while now that Stephanie was going to have a baby, right? And this is the first time I've ever managed to keep a secret.
Aye.
I'm brutal.
Are you bad for that?
Mate, I'm brutal. Guess what, Troops, by the way. I'll only ever tell people that I know would never forward it on, but I never told a soul. Not a soul did I tell.
Good
Have you
on
ever
you.
considered joining the Masons, Chris?
Chris, you only need to ask, son.
Listen, but the thing is, if I joined the Masons, both the trouser legs would be the same length anyway.
Anyway, thanks very much, Troops. It was lovely. So will we get into what's happening in Scottish football?
We've got more congratulations to give out though, haven't we?
What's happened? Oh,
Congratulations to the old Harry Rags.
Oh, Harry Rags, old Jags.
Champions. So, John, what's happened?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I mean,
Well, listen, this is the one of the drawbacks of being a producer of a football podcast. You need to talk about it. How do you think I feel? How do you think I feel? All season.
listen, at least your team didn't fucking chuck it. We were 8 points clear at the top of that league. 8 points clear. And we finished fifth. Fifth in League One. Now, we had our...
finished behind Montrose, man. That's what I think.
It's ridiculous. 1 point out of sitting in the last 6 games. Now, there needs to be that club needs change from top to bottom. Now, we've been through restructure after restructure. The amount of players that we've taken in and out in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And I played, it all started with fucking Paul Hartley.
Enough of swearing, John. Calm down.
All started with him. Peter Houston, I thought, looking back, he was hard done by there at the club and he should have been kept there. Paul Hartley came on, fucked it. Ray McKinnon, no much better. He was all right. And then Lee and Cracks did the best. We're top of the league when let's bear in mind, we're top of the league when they went. I mean, the football wasn't the best. We weren't really kicking on. But it's just embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be a Falkirk supporter. Absolutely. You sing Falkirk till I die. Falkirk
Right, mate, I thought you said you didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, right. I need to get it off my chest.
What was it like working with Cat Harvey, a big Jag fan? She must have given you it tight.
Yes, that was great. Going into work the next day, Cat Harvey, dressed in full Partick Thistle regalia, and basically, yeah.
So we've got also it's awards time, and we've got Steve Clark, Callum Davidson, Stephen Gerrard, and David Martindale. David Martindale are shortlisted for the Manager of the Year award by the Scottish Football Writers Association. Who do you think is going to win it?
I think if Callum Davidson goes on to the final and wins that cup, I think it's got to be Callum Davidson. I know Stephen Gerrard, getting the 55, but they missed out in the 2 cups. Mm-hmm. And with the budget that Callum Davidson you can't look beyond Callum Davidson.
Now, I don't know if you know, but they've been dealt a wee blow by the old COVID for the weekend, the semi-finals, a couple of players out, so I still fancy St John's, if I'm being honest, but you've got to argue, you're right, John, Stephen Gerrard, clean sweep in the league, but you've got to kind of consider somebody like Callum Davison with the money that he's been given this season. So, and then, so that's that.
Is it? You're also talking about the Players Writers Association Player of the Year nominations. I've got a clean sweep for Rangers in this one. It's McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, and Davis. And if you add all of them up, I think they come to about 248-year-old.
Where's Shane Duffy's name, Chris? I didn't see Shane Duffy in the running for that.
He's in running for the next Falkirk manager, mate.
But you can't. For me, man, it's a hard one because I would take any of them as a player of the year. But for me, Ostert's goalies union, man, goalie, Alan McGregor.
Really?
Just honestly, for me now, better than Andy Gorham. An absolute fantastic goalkeeper. The saves that he makes. But listen, never mind about the SPFL player of the year. It's just broke. Arbroath. I've just tweeted that my good friend, my best mate, the captain himself, Ricky Little, has been voted by the Arbroath fans as the player of the year. So congratulations to Ricky.
Brilliant, superb. Maybe I'll get the captaincy soon.
Bro, we need to get Ricky on. He's an absolute cult figure on this show. We need to get him on. Now the season's finished, he can come on, surely.
Well, surely I did say that
Also,
to him. We kind of asked him when we went to Kilt Walk, but he never kind of gave me a straight answer. If not, we'll just give him a bell once he finishes one night. You know what I mean?
Anyway, more football chat and daft chat in the open line soon. And on the big question, what's the best bit of skill that you've seen in Scottish football? And our guest this week is none other than the star of Still Game. It's Victor McDady's self, Mr. Greg Hemphill.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Call them now on 01698 767 172.
So, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, our main sponsor of the show is G4 Claims, and here to talk about them is the lovely Nicole. Nicole, how you doing?
Nicole.
Hi, I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
Doing well. We're missing Stevie
Good.
today.
Oh no. Where is he? I hope he's not in an accident.
He's away building a bed, apparently. So we've been told.
All right, he might cause an accident then.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What would we do then if he? What should he do if he does end up in an accident today?
So, basically, guys, as you all know, G4 Claims we're an accident management support system. So, if you've been involved in an accident, then please contact us first. We can help you from the roadside. If your accident is non-fault, we can provide you with a like-for-like replacement vehicle whilst your car's off the road. If your car is repairable, we'll get it repaired at a body shop of your choice. If your vehicle is written off, we'll get the pre-accident value recovered for you and get that back to you so that you're not out of pocket in any way, shape or form. If you're injured from the accident, we can claim a compensation claim for you for your whiplash. We can also get your full recovery for you. We do not take a percentage from your compensation, so you get your full claim with us. All our services are totally free to you. They're all billed to the at-fault insurance. And what I always say, guys, is remember, if you're involved in any sort of accident, phone us first. We also have loads of links with the body shops where if you're involved in an accident and it is your fault and you've got a really high excess, we can help you with that as well. We can place your vehicle at a repairer of our choice, which then allows the small independent garages to get a good job, and they're going to waive either the full or most of your excess for you. So that allows you then to get the claim done, but also not have to pay your excess. So it's just another wee part of the service that we do that I've actually not brought up on here, which I forgot about, and I'm going to just mention it today so everybody knows. Just another wee perk as to why you should always phone us first, because as I say every week, if I can't help you, I'll definitely point you in the right direction. So G4 Claims, it's not at fault claims, made easy.
Made easy.
Welcome to the Football Daft Open Line. It's the open line, of course, where you can talk about absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be football. Just talk about the daft stuff as well. And maybe you're I've wrote this script, I can't believe it. Maybe you're a Jags fan and you want to come on and celebrate winning League One. Maybe you want to take Falkirk to task after they bottled it and shat the bed. I certainly would like to do that. Or perhaps after Grado's baby announcement, you maybe want to share some parent advice with Grado. Yeah, you could do it. We're missing one of our panel this week as Stephen Keevins is off, but we are joined by, of course, Graham Guidi and Chris Delahunt. And let's go to our first caller, who is Kevin, who is on to talk about a charity match he's organising.
Kev, welcome to the show.
Thanks for letting me on.
Aye, boy.
We're doing a football charity game. Estimated date's 11th of July. So the Beats and Cancer charity.
Oh, I'm a big supporter of that. What about pros that are no pros?
Well,
I'm sure me and Bobo come along, told Mike up for it and all, what you think, mate?
When was it, the 11th of July?
11th of July, Sunday.
I've got a walk the next day.
I've heard that a few times.
What have you thought about the old Rangers this season anyway, mate?
I thought it would have been brilliant. Well, won the league anyway in Europa, but a wee bit disappointing in the cup.
Aye. But if you had...
What do you think Rangers will need to sign in the summer to progress the Champions League?
Well...
For me, I think the squad that they've got now is capable of going on a wee bit of a run in Europe, to be honest with you. If anything, I would say, I know that the defence has done really well, but I think they're going to lose a couple of players in the summer, Kevin. Yeah. So I think they might need to strengthen the midfield. And obviously, I know he's been playing well this season, but Davis is coming to the end of his career as well. So to ask him to be playing in the league and then in Europe every week might be a wee bit a stretch too far for him. So somebody to back him up, and somebody that's maybe another striker as well. But they have signed Fashion
Sakala.
So
personally, I think a defender, because of the amount of goals we've lost when we went into the last 16 in the Europa League. It's a bit concerning, even though we don't lose a lot of goals in the league.
Aye. Well, when you look at the Antwerp game, they scored, what was it? Did they score 5 or 6 over the 2 legs against us? And but I think the 2 goals that he's lost at home against Slavia they couldn't really have been stopped, to be honest with you. The free kick was, you'd have needed 2 McGregors to save that. I don't think that's a defensive issue. You know what I mean? But
I think it depends, as Toll says, I think it depends on what happens, who's going to be leaving the club. And then I take it for there. Right now, we've signed Sakala. McGregor signed up for another season, I'm sure. He's signed up for another season. We're looking, actually, I don't know if, Defoe's been in talks as well. But I reckon another striker as well. But I think it all depends on what's going to be happening in the transfer window, who's going to be leaving and who's staying.
I'm saying, that's what I think.
Aye.
Anyway, guys, let us go.
Right, cheers, Kev. Thanks very much.
Stop for the match. July the 11th, home park. Get down, support Beats.
John will give you my email address, all right?
That's great, guys. Thanks for letting me on.
Sure. Right,
welcome, man.
So that was Kevin. Let's move on to our next caller. It's Ryan, who's been on before. He's a Rangers supporter, shock horror, and he wants to talk about the Colts team going into the Lowland League potentially.
First and foremost, congratulations, big man Grado.
Oh, thanks very much, Ryan, mate. I appreciate that, pal. Thank you. Thank you, pal.
Let's talk about, you wanted to come on and talk Colt teams. What you want to say on it, mate?
Aye. I was looking at the Colt teams last night and I was thinking, we've done this the week before and nothing really happened. So do we really see it happening again? Because I don't. And if it did happen, would the Colt teams only get to the championship and have to stay there?
Well, that's what happens in Spain, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say there, John. But see, the thing is, Ryan, it's been spoken about before, but they were trying to leapfrog the whole fucking access. Now they're not. They're trying to go in at the Lowland League.
Aye.
Whereas they were trying to join the professional league to begin with.
So going through like the juniors and stuff like that, like the Highland League, and going that for a proper way, which by the way would be good, and that'd be quite interesting to see the younger players. But then it's a bit of
I know what you're saying there, Grado, but
a bit of risk as well, but isn't it?
I'm saying you win it, right? Saying that either Rangers or Celtic win it, and they go into the playoff with the Highland League and win that, they went to the League 2 playoff. Say they keep on getting progressive from promoted into promotion, and they get to the championship.
Aye.
Are they going to stay there? Because if they go into the Premier League, they'll be played in the first team.
Well, they can't go into the Premier League, right?
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. It's like in Spain, if you look at the Spanish setup, in the Segunda division, you've got the Barcelona B team, you get Real Madrid B team, all of them. Now they can't get promoted even if they win the league, right? So it brings to I know I hate to use this phrase, right, but it brings into question the sporting integrity.
Of course.
Like, for example, these teams, like say it was this season and Celtic and Rangers, or Rangers and Celtic finished first and second in the championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going, the team that finishes third wins the league technically. You know what I mean? But they're not good enough to win the league. So I understand what you're saying, Ryan. I think that I don't think they should be allowed to go any further than Division 2.
And see, to be honest with you, right?
I would say
like who does this gain advantage to, right? If Rangers, is it just Rangers or is Celtic up for this as well?
Celtic are up for it as well, Greg.
Right. For me, it's so who does this gain advantage to? Who does this benefit? Right.
Rangers and Celtic, obviously,
right. And it's no benefiting anybody else, but is it? So you can totally understand why.
But what you'll need to look at as well, and Ryan, I don't know if you'll have noticed over the past few years. See the Celtic and Rangers and Hearts and Hibs and Aberdeen and all their Colts that were in the what's the cup called again? Like the
Petrific or whatever that's now. I am Bruno.
Aye. They all get hammered. They all get turned over. They get hammered after all the wee shite teams. You know what I mean? So what I think the problem is here is we're missing a proper reserve league.
That's it. I mean, ultimately, that's why Rangers and Celtic want to do this because, you know, I've just read it there that they're going to offer basically £25,000 each, and that'll be distributed among the lower league teams, which is, you know, it doesn't seem that much money in paper, but for these teams, that keeps them going for a season. You know that. You know that.
Not just that as well, John. No matter what you say, these two teams will draw a crowd for
that's another thing I know.
Well, they will. I mean, and just think it's another Old Firm derby down there.
No, I don't want any more of them. Thank you.
But I mean, the thing is with it, would Rangers and Celtic, would it not be beneficial more for the whole of Scottish football if Rangers and Celtic had used clubs like, I know Stennismuir, for example, have I think they have an affiliation with Hibs, so they kind of get used to bring through youth and bring through prospects, and they're playing at a decent level then. I mean, Lowland League, I mean, Chris, you'll know more about the Lowland League because obviously the Shire and stuff are down there now. It's a tough old business, that, because a lot of the junior teams like Grado as well, like Boness and stuff, went into the Lowland as opposed to staying in the junior, didn't they? So
it was when was that last year? They all kind of done that in the West of Scotland as well. They done it in the West of Scotland League.
There was a full rejig. The whole thing.
So they're too late to the party there with that and all then.
Exactly. Well, I think going forward it should either be like you're touching on there, John. See, you take on a feeder team and give them your youth players and let their youth players play in the league. That way that team can then get promoted. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Or they make a new reserve league.
Yeah.
Talk academies though, right? That springs to mind right away is John's. Falkirk.
Aye.
You get rid of you.
Aye. It does.
Falkirk get rid of the years. Would it not have been better to say, right, rather than get rid of it, why don't the so-called smaller teams, like your Falkirks, your Partick Thistles.
Aye, Ryan.
Your so-called smaller teams. Say their academy teams, right, we'll take them into the Lowland League.
Aye.
That would then give the young boys their teams. That would give them the experience because
I think what you're saying there then, Ryan, that then puts the teams that are already in the Lowland Leagues. That kind of pies them off, if you know what I mean. Well, I think
Ryan, before you go, your dad's got a podcast you're looking to plug, isn't that right?
He does, aye. It's called the SPFL Through the Lens. It's my dad, Sean Fagan, Colin Cram, and a guy called Jason Little. Now,
Colin Cram, there's a blast for the past. He used to play for the Bairns.
I was going to say that. Was he not a Falkirk player?
Aye.
My dad.
And what is it? What is it they're doing? They're kind of studying the game, aren't they? Rather than what's the setup with it?
It's an analysis side, if you know what I mean.
Because your father worked in that. He works in that, didn't
he? He did, aye. It's the analysis side of the game. So showing movements of players and different other stuff they've had guests on. As I say, Sean Fagan started as a guest a couple of weeks ago. He's now permanent. And they've had a couple of others. He's on, you You can find them on YouTube.
So what's it called on YouTube?
The SPFL Through the Lens.
The SPFL Through the Lens.
Definitely going to have to check that one out, Ryan, because I love all that. I love all tactics. I love sitting watching all tactics and how things work. So definitely going to get on that. Ryan, thanks very much for coming on, pal.
Cheers, Ryan. Take care, mate. All the best.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, mate. Cheers, pal.
And that is it for this week's Open Line. Thank you to all our contributors. If you want to get on next week, dead easy. Get on Twitter, get on our Patreon, patreon.com/football daft. We'll give you first opportunity on there. And we'd love to speak to you next week.
Football Daft's big question.
Right, there's been a few show ponies in the Scottish game and some brilliant bits of skill. This, we've been inspired this weekend with Ryan Kent. He left Greg Taylor to get a ticket back in at the weekend. So we're asking, what's the best skill you've seen in Scottish football? Toll, we'll come to you first.
Me? There's one that sticks out in my mind, and it was Lubo Moravchik trapping the ball with his arse. For a 50-yard Alan Stubbs pass. Trapped it with his arse. It was, see if you get a chance, Grado, look it up on YouTube, mate. It was outrageous.
What do you type in? Lubo arse?
I just type Lubo trap ball arse.
Lubo arse trap. Lubo bum trap. Lubo bum trap, maybe. Lubo bum skill.
That's that. You don't want to type that in, Grado. Something very different's going to pop up.
Wow, that was brilliant. Biggest skill. Now, the first thing that popped into my mind was Gabriel Amato about 20 years ago. And it was, I think he had Tom Boyd in the right of him, and I don't remember if you remember Toll, who was in the left-hand side of him. And he kind of does something sublime, really, really magical, goes right through them. I think it was a midweek game, I could be wrong, no?
I think it was, mate. I remember that game. I think Rangers trounced us that day, actually.
It was definitely an old firm game. I'm either thinking that, and the other thing that pops into my mind is, now I don't know if this is a bit of skill. Is this skill? Does this count? We've spoken about it on a podcast before, but Andrew Kanchelskis against United in the Scottish Cup final about 20 years ago again.
He stood on the ball.
Stuns in the ball, stuns up straight, and gives us a salute. Does he salute, or it's as if he's looking into the sun in it? It's not a salute.
It's like a salute, isn't it?
It's kind of like he was having a look to see how he could cross the ball.
Totally ripping the arse out the guy.
Rangers scored for that, didn't they?
Did they?
Rangers not scored for that. I'm not sure. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, who cares?
John, what about yourself, the old Bairns? What's the fanciest trick you've seen? A couple of keepy-ups before the game?
Listen, we had the magician Russell Latipi playing for us. Simon Stainrod God and Kevin Crunchy McAllister. So you could pick anything from those three. I tell you what, though, I'm going to go on. I loved the one when Kevin Crunchy left Amaruso on his arse when we played Rangers in the Cup. But the one that I would go for, and this is going back, was Chris Waddle's debut game against Clydebank at Brockville. I can't remember. Do you know what? It might even been Gary Teal that was playing left back that day, and he put the boy on his arse. We switched the foot, ducked the shoulders, and rifled it into the bottom corner of the net. Tremendous. Big Chrissy Waddle at Falkirk. So I'll say that just for the memories.
Bit of passion there for old John. Old John, thanks for that. You can get involved, John, with the answers here, right? So I'll start off with Ian. He talks about Davy Cooper in the Drybrough Cup final. See, I'm too young for Davy Cooper.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But there's a guy come in called Bedingy, and do you know something? This was one of the first things I thought of as well when we mentioned this, and it was when Del Piero turned Alec Cleland inside out. And Alec Cleland never recovered for that. Let's be honest.
No, I'm sure Billy Thompson was in goals either in the home leg or the second leg. Was it 4-0 in the first leg and then 4-1 or 4-1 or something like that? We just absolutely ripped, didn't we?
It was the only excuse sketch that year as well, where Del Piero just disappeared in front of Alec Cleland like an invisible man. Titch says, remember Wanjo that played for Hearts? Bag of tricks. I can't remember this myself, but Wanjo for Hearts against Dundee United, some skill and finish.
There you go. John says McGeady spin against Aberdeen. It was a classic bit of skill.
Do you know what? Nobody ever talks about that, but Celtic scored a goal for that. He done the roulette and went by two players and pinged it over to the back post, and Scott McDonald headed it in. That was a great goal. Paul Smith says, funnily enough, John Kevin Crunchy McAllister for Falkirk v Hearts in the 1998 Scottish Cup semi at Ibrox. Absolutely immense.
Yeah, oh no, it was against Hearts. It was against Hearts, that's who it was. No, that was a different game. We put Amaruso on his arse. This was when he actually scored an absolute worldie against Hearts, Gary Naismith got fucking ripped that day.
Mark says, Ayer, a player to have the ability to pull off a no-look pass all the way back to his goalkeeper in the 80th minute with nobody pressing him and his team's doing 3-1.
Chris, what did you make of that when you saw that?
You know what? I think by that point I wasn't paying attention anymore.
That gif has been doing the rounds this week of that no-look pass. I'll tell you, Jesus.
For fuck's sake. Kev says the Aidan McGeady spin against the Rangers, leaving Dado Perso and Zurab Kuzanishvili to go for the pies, and then done the same at Pittodrie, setting up Scott McDonald. Class.
Here we go. Glasgow Lockdown. He's with me in terms of Kenchelskis against Ayr when he stood in the ball and saluted.
Grant, I had sent in a video for this one as well. Shane Sutherland scoring IC Inverness Callie's third against Celtic about 10 years ago when they won 3-2 up there. And I went and had a look at it. Absolute stunning goal. So, gidgin.
Jack says, too much to mention. Used to watch the wizard Gary Harkins do unbelievable things every week.
Do you know what? Somebody said something about... I'm just looking it up. There was somebody on Twitter tweeted, Phil Foden is almost as good as Gary Harkins in his first spell at Dundee. And then somebody's replied, good shout, quicker, maybe not quite as good on the ball. Right, where we are now? Jack says no, we've got that one. Pisco, PSCO. Pisco says, Candias chasing down his own clearance, then a back heel. Was that till he did the goal in Europe?
Do you mind that? I had to go and look at that. That was unbelievable.
Remember Candias, man? He was a better player than he get fucking...
He was off within a couple of weeks of Gerrard arriving, was he not? I'm sure.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Colin, he says, basically the full season highlight reel of Shane Duffy. Skills other players could only dream of. I think we would make the test a sarky tone here.
Jordan for a few weeks ago has been back in touch and he says that belly pass that appeared on Soccer.
Well played, John.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Find them on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at G4 Claims Limited.
It's the Player Profile Playoff with piesports.com, bringing you the taste of Scottish football during lockdown by getting pies to your doors while we watch the football. In fact, none of us have got any football to watch this weekend because you lot are out the Scottish Cup and Falkirk's League's fucking over. So, but I'll still be ordering my pies and I'll be doing that from piesports.com. If you don't want to get on the website, you can go or give them a call, 0141 739 9999. That's our Send Our Savouries hotline. Check out the website though, brilliant selection of pies up there, curry pies. Got those pies with the beans and the potatoes.
I need to tell you, right? You see how sometimes we'll get given advertising to do, right?
Yes.
And we read the advertising.
We do.
Right? See these pies? They're fucking dynamite, and I'm not kidding on. They really are good.
They are dynamite. You're right, Toll.
You've got to say that. You get paid for by McGee's anyway, Grado, so you've got to say that.
Listen, I'm telling you, if I'm ever wanting an Empire biscuit, a pie, a curry pie, a roll, I make sure it's McGee's.
What did your granny used to say to you? Sorry, if you've not heard, listen out on any radio station. You'll hear Grado's voice every day.
Which can I just also point out that it's that campaign has been nominated for an award, John?
Is it the pain in the arse award?
Go compare.
Anyway, every week we try and give away a whole bunch of pies. And just before I go on, if you are getting your pies from piesports.com, check out the website because they deliver to postcodes free of charge across Scotland, so you can get all the details up there. But we want to give away some to our listeners. And today, in a complete and utter shock, to play for the pies, we have a Celtic supporter on toll. It's Declan. How you doing, Declan?
Yes.
Not bad, mate. Not bad. So, do you want to talk football, Declan, or you just want to ignore it like I do?
No, I'm just here for the pies.
Right, fine. Quite right, mate. Quite right.
That's Grado's catchphrase.
So, right, how's your football knowledge, Declan?
Aye, it's all right. Depends what it is. Aye.
What age are you?
25.
25. Right, well, right, here we go. We're going back to 2002, 2003 this season, this week.
I tell you what, John. Since there's only me and Grado here, why don't we let Declan pick who he wants to play?
Right, okay. Who do you want to play, Declan?
Grado.
Oh,
I knew that was coming.
Here we go.
You see, Phil, you done that because you knew he would pick me.
Damn straight, brother.
So, 2002-2003 season, top scorer in the SPFL was Henrik Larsson, 28 goals. Rangers Scottish Cup, League, and the League Cup and the League. It was a treble for Rangers, winning it on goal difference. Chris, obviously it was UEFA Cup final season that season as well. So, and Falkirk were cheated out of getting promoted because the SPFL turned to, or the Premier League turned into the SPL, and Falkirk were told they couldn't get up because they didn't have a good enough stadium. Fuck off. Anyway, right. Let's get into it then. Game's dead simple. Declan, and we read out a player description. If you know who the player is, you buzz in, you give me the answer. If it's the wrong answer, however, you're out the game, and I continue. Another player gets to play. First to 2 wins. So all I need is a buzzer from you, Declan. What's it going to be?
Go Henrik Larsson.
Henrik Larsson, lovely. Grado, what's your buzzer this week?
Make sure it's McGee's.
Right, here we go then with your first player. Right, this defender went on to win Young Player of the Year this season at Dundee. The Georgian international made 20.
Make sure it's McGee's.
Grado.
What would you call him again? Shinsvili.
Sorry, who was that?
Shinsvili.
I'm going to give him that one, Declan.
You know who I know? I can't pronounce his name right.
Ivanishvili.
It's really. Aye.
Yes, he played for Rangers after that season. Aye. Well done.
He's really.
1-0, Grado. Here we go. Next player up. This was this winger's second season at Parkhead after moving from St Johnstone. He played in a variety of seasons while it's positions.
Make sure it's McGee's.
Grado.
Jody Morris.
Wrong.
It's not Jody Morris. When was Jody Morris at Celtic?
Was he not? I thought he was.
No, I'll continue.
Was he too? As a boy?
Oh, was he? Fuck.
As a boy. Right,
I get that fit.
I'll continue with the clue, Declan, for you. So he played in a variety of different positions while at Celtic, but was never really a first-team regular. However, Celtic won the league twice during his time there, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004.
Henrik Larsson.
And John, are you going to answer on Declan's behalf since he's young here?
Yes, Momo Silla.
It is Mo Silla, yeah.
I got that.
Here's two.
You're welcome, my man. You're welcome.
Right, okay.
Well, he's up this season, eh?
This is the decider.
This is the decider.
Here we go, 1-1. This Australian striker enjoyed his
Make sure it's McGee's. I don't know why I'm saying it. Why did I say that for?
A Livingston Australian striker. Who are you?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Livingston Australian striker. Oh, what did you call him again? Landon Donovan.
Landon Donovan. The American winger.
Is he married to Amy McDonald?
No, he's not married to Amy McDonald. I'll continue with the clue. The Australian striker enjoyed his second season at Livingston, scoring in their UEFA Cup qualifier against Sturm Graz. Having previously played with Hibs, he only managed 2 goals in this season.
That's what you're thinking about, though, is it not?
No, it's not. Though he did skipper them to the League Cup in the season after.
I get mixed up with Amy McDonald's husband. Sorry.
After Livingston, he enjoyed a stint at Queen of the South before going on to become a TV pundit. Declan, who you got? Oh, I could hear it. It was almost...
You're nearly there, mate. You're nearly there. Come on.
What did he say?
Again?
Scott McDonald, no?
It's not Scott McDonald. It's not Scott McDonald.
Stuart Lovell.
Aye, so you were right. You were right, too.
No, he wasn't. It was Steve Lovell that was...
Sorry.
I get mixed up there.
Right.
And I'm going... It must have been...
You better get this one. This is a shoot-in one, right? Come on, boys. You can do this. This player came to greater prominence during this season. He scored 19 goals from 34 starts and won Young Player of the Year award, despite Motherwell finishing bottom of the SPL. They should have
Make sure it's McGee's.
Grado.
James McFadden.
No.
It is. Well done.
Yay!
Well done. How is he the only young player of the year there?
That was one of his kind of.
Aye, that was early doors.
That was early doors for McFadden.
Right, I'm going to say, since he's young and since he's
handsome,
trying to be healthy, I'll take the pies, man. All right, okay. Nah, batter in, man. Give Declan the pies.
Declan can have the pie.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate. All the best, pal. See you later.
And that's it. If you want pies like Declan, get to piesports.com.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Get them now at notitfaultclaims.com.
Right, you're known for chewing the fat. You're known for the fact that Grado myself wrestled him, or perhaps you might know for an episode of I've seen Nisbet where he played a newsreader. It's none other than the man himself. He is a Scottish legend, or Canadian, whatever way you want to kind of do it. It's Greg Hemphill.
Hello, team.
How you doing, Greg? Thanks very much for coming on.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Beautiful.
What have you been up to?
Nothing. I mean, honestly, it's and now as things go back to normal, I'm not sure that I'm cut out for socializing in the real world. I think I quite like where I'm at in terms of being a hermit and whatnot. I don't know if I'm going to come back out.
And it's
like,
not even
like remember what's his name in Still Game, your man.
Oh, that's right. It was your man for Doctor Who that played him, eh?
Yeah. Archie was the character.
Archie, that's right.
My goodness.
Do you know what?
It's not even like gone out. It's the whole, I don't want to get back to shaking folks' horns and cuddling and all that shite and kind of all that.
Do you know what?
Especially actor folk, you know, all that carry on with a kiss in the right and the left cheek. I can't be doing with that carry on.
It's funny you say that, Grado. Greg, we met up yesterday, me, Grado and Stephen, to go over something in Stephen's back garden. And Grado came in and it was just, all right, mate. I've not seen him for over a year.
Aye.
See if this would have been before COVID, I'd have been hanging off his leg like a Jack Russell.
Brilliant.
No, I think Grado's right. I think there are certain things that I'm not sure will come back, or certainly it's going to take a long time before people do them again. You know, I mean, I quite like the elbow. I quite like that. The last few times I've been to a mate's house and sat in their garden, because of the time of year it's been, I've had to come home and get in a hot bath.
I know what you mean, man. We were sitting in Stephen's garden yesterday and it started hailstones. Mm-hmm. Honest to God, it was a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. Yeah. But listen, Greg, the very first time I ever met you, I was walking into Celtic Park and I says, there's that guy off chewing the fat. Still game hadn't even been a hang yet, right? There's that guy off chewing the fat. My dad says, so it is. Says, oh, he must be a Celtic supporter. So are you going to come out? Are you going to wave your colours for the mast today? Are you going to admit to it?
Don't, mate. Too much hassle.
I'm a very, very casual Celtic supporter. My dad was a Thistle supporter, and I actually put some of his ashes behind the goal at Firhill, which was a real honour. And he used to love Manchester United. I used to have a season ticket to Celtic many years ago, and I didn't renew it because I only went to like 2 games, and that was the Old Firm games. So I'm an armchair fan. I always have been.
It's like Grado.
But back in the Chewin the Fat days, we got invited here, there, and everywhere. And I remember we ended up meeting Martin O'Neill and Henrik Larsson and stuff after they won the double. I think I can't even remember what year it was. That was the year they had the T-shirts which said "Milk Lemonade Chocolate," which was a Chewin the Fat reference.
That's right. That's right. I remember
I think
that.
Rangers fans were like, "Oh, those Chewin the Fat boys, they're all fucking Celtic fans." You know what I mean? So it took us a while to win them back. You know what I mean?
But it's funny you say that, right? Because I was telling Steph this last night, right? So I remember when the documentary first came out with me, right? And all the papers were phoning me and all that, right? You're going to be in a documentary. What team do you support? And I'm going, I don't like football. I don't like football because I thought this is too much hassle, right? And for years, I never spoke about football, right? I tried to get away from all that. And then obviously Rangers asked me to play a charity game, right? And I thought, I can't turn that down. I can't turn this down to play Ibrox. Fast forward now, right? When the other night when my girlfriend, I tell folk on Twitter that my girlfriend's pregnant. The headline: Rangers daft Grado has got to be a dad, and I'm like, what's Rangers going to do with it, man? Rangers daft. Sunday with my Rangers tap and all that kind of like daily record.
Do you know the thing is too? All of the stuff that you've done throughout your career, and you're best known for being a Rangers supporter.
Well, listen, I didn't even know you were expecting a baby. So Grado's my top shagger.
Yes, there we go.
Congratulations, that's phenomenal news.
Cheers, Greg. Thanks very much, mate.
Absolutely wonderful news. Wow, that's brilliant. But I know you get that a lot, you know what I mean? Or you'll have, I mean, I remember seeing Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall did a film years and years ago in Scotland. I think it was called, it might have been called
Glory.
That was it, Shot of Glory. I think Ali McCoist was in it, actually.
Jackie McQuillan. We've spoken about that one here before, haven't we?
To Parkhead, and some Rangers fan stuck a Rangers scarf in his hand. And there's poor old Robert Duvall with a no surrender scarf.
That's right. I remember that.
You remember that? And he's like that. He's like that. And you can see the boy in the background totally like decorated.
Aye, but see, the thing is, you can see his red hand tattoo on his neck.
Oh, that's funny, man.
That was good. So, Greg, you started your life in Glasgow, but you moved away to Canada. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, when you were over there, did you follow football, or were you more an ice hockey kind of guy, or basketball?
Well, I was very young when I went there. I was about 5 or 6, and I'll tell you a funny story. My dad, who, as I say, was Thistle and Man U, those were his teams. He absolutely adored Alec Ferguson and loved him, and just thought the world of him. Got to Canada, it was like minus 30 degrees. We arrived in January, and they have hockey night in Canada on a Saturday night, and they also play on a Wednesday. And he'd never watched a hockey game in his life. Well, do you know you couldn't get my dad out on a Wednesday or a Saturday? He was sat in front of the telly for those 2 nights watching hockey, and he watched it for 10, 15 years. Absolutely loved it. And the only time back in those days, because this is the mid-70s, you know, into the 80s and whatnot, the only time that you ever heard about football was if something crazy happened. And I remember being at a lemonade stand, right? The Montreal Expos, they're now gone. That's a Washington baseball team. They were still on the go. And this Scottish boy ran up the street, and he's like, Greg, right? And I was like, what is it, Joe? He goes, Boris Johnson signed for fucking Rangers. And in my head, that was kind of like the birth of the internet. You know what I mean? That was... It was like you never saw anything in the papers about it. You know, only if a Scotsman ran past you in the street and told you some phenomenal bit of news would you hear about football from back home, from Scotland. And then obviously, you know, as the years went on and the Premiership built, then it became, you know, sort of British football became more global. But in the 70s, my God, you couldn't find, it was like finding a needle in a haystack, finding a story about not even Scottish football, English football too.
So was that what made you come back to Scotland then? You wanted to see the fallout from Mo Johnson?
It's Boris Johnson signed for I've got to get back. I've got to get him. It's going to be nuts. Yeah, I can't. What year was that? Was that about 86 or 88? Was it?
It was 87, 88, wasn't it?
Aye.
Or 89.
Yeah, so I came back to Glasgow in 1988 to start. I remember I just arrived back. And Ben Johnson had just won gold in 9.79 seconds at the Seoul Olympics, and that was my freshers week, and I was like, Canadian, fastest man in the world's Canadian. And then I remember 3 nights later, Des Lynam was like, "We've got some terrible news."
We've got some terrible news. Mo Johnston signed for Rangers.
Must be something about the name Johnson. Moments of sporting infamy.
That is amazing.
You know, I didn't know, Greg, that you were involved in like the first radio off the ball. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did the first season with Tam and with Sanjeev, and you know, and Lewis McLeod did the voices. Ford did a few voices for us as well. And you know, to be fair, we were all still, the show was still forming its identity. And by the end of the first year, I got a phone call from Philip Differ, and he asked me to, Tony Roper had left only an excuse, and he asked myself and Lewis to sort of step in and, you know, sort of replace Tony, and Johnny was kind of like the main man, and we were sort of supporting him. And I felt much more comfortable doing that kind of thing. And I said to Alan de Paulette, the producer, I said, look, you're better off getting somebody You know, honestly, I was like, burnt his land. I was, you know, I was like, I wasn't really, I didn't have the nous that you needed, I think, to present a show like that and do justice to the fans and to the listeners. So after a year, I says, look, you're going to need to get somebody else. And Stuart Cosgrove took over. And, you know, I think it's fair to say he made a decent job of it.
I done all right. But do you know what? That sounds exactly like Grado.
I was just going to say, again, this is like me doing this podcast, mate, honestly.
Really?
Sweet. Oh, I see the day I'm raging because Bob, he usually does the Rangers side of the talking, and I'm crabbit because he's phoned in sick, and it's like I have to start because they end up talking about the English Premier League, and I'm sitting here with a vape in the background, and just waiting till they talk about Rangers again.
It's funny you say that, Greg. You then moved on to Only an Excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favourite characters to play in on the show?
Well, Lewis is a phenomenal mimic. Back then, he could play anybody, and I felt myself to be more of a kind of actor and stuff. So I always enjoyed a prop. So they gave me, when I played Brian Laudrup, they gave me a ball which was attached to my foot, like it was taped to my foot, and I just ran about the stage, and the audience were all laughing, and I was like, this is okay. I don't have to do a Danish accent or whatever the hell it was. I just had to run about. So stuff like that was great fun, you know. And Phil and Johnny, you know, they've been doing it for so long. They'll give you crazy costumes and all that. I remember Lewis for Mark Hateley had this Max Wall wig. You know what I mean? Because remember, Hateley had that grey hair. It was like long and lustrous.
That's right. Yeah.
But it was super thin on top there. You know what I mean? So they never missed a trick, man. You know, those guys never missed a trick. No, and Tam, you know, Tam was, you know, he's had, you know, he's been at the tiller there for many, many years. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, as I say, I only did 1 year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'd be lying if I said I was in my depth. You know what I mean?
Right. So you've then moved on for Only an Excuse, and your first real big break comes when you meet Ford and you start chewing the fat. No, in fact, maybe not Naked. Did you do Naked Radio?
No, we did a show together called Pulp Video,
Pulp Video.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like the sort of son of Naked Video, and we did that for a year, and then it got cancelled.
Do you know what I remember that, and I enjoyed that show. Show. I did, and I'm a huge sketch show buff though. Like really, I love sketch comedy. I think it's tremendous. So that moves you on to Chewing the Fat.
Yeah.
Now, Chewing the Fat became a nationwide phenomenon. I mean, still to this day, you'll hear people sport socks when they're walking down the street and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So the amount of catchphrases that it spawned, it was a total pop culture phenomenon at the time. Do you some of your memories about that and how you came to start working with Ford on that?
Well, our main memory was actually the first season was a very, very low budget show. It was basically based on the radio show. So we did sketches, and then we also sat on a sofa and did like bits of banter. And I remember inviting my wife's family around to watch one of the episodes, and every time it cut to us on the sofa doing our banter, they all started talking like it was a commercial break. And we went back to the producer, Colin Gilbert, for the second season and said, we need to cut these bits of us just sitting talking. I don't think anybody's interested in it. I think that, you know, that people are interested in the characters. And in the first season, we did a lot of American characters because Ford and I were obsessed with movies. And we used to do like mobsters and hillbillies and all this kind of stuff. And he said, the audience are really responding to the Scottish characters and you should do more of that. So the second series, that was my main memory, was that the first series was kind of like, it had potential, but it wasn't the kind of breakaway success until the second series. And I think the viewing figures started about 20%, and we finished the second series on something like 55 or 58%. And we just, you know, had never known anything like that. You know what I mean? It was nuts. And it was fun, I think, for the audience. I guess maybe at that time, it had been a few years since there'd been a Scottish show. Because I think even Naked Video, the actors weren't exclusively playing Scottish characters, whereas Chewin' the Fat were, you know, mostly, I think 95% Scottish characters. And I think that, you know, people got a kick out of that because, you know, the mirror was held up to them. And I think that's why they responded. It was like we filled a bit of a vacuum at the time, I think.
Definitely.
It's just funny because I remember when we done the wrestling, right? In 2013, and me and Red Lightning were with you, and you were telling a story, and then halfway through, you started going, and then in the 90s, you know, we kind of done this kind of small little sketch show, me and Ford, and you started talking about it, and I'm going, is he talking about fucking Chewin the Fat? I'm going, the way you spoke about it as if like it wasn't a big thing, but it literally was.
As if you didn't know what he was talking about.
You know, back in the day, you know, we kind of done this kind of sketch show, me and Ford, and you know, we done this, we done that, and I'm being Andy looking at each other going, is he fucking what? Chewin the Fat, man, come on.
Are you sure I wasn't being like a wanky actor and going, back in the 90s, we did this little sketch show, you might have heard of it. By the name of Chewin the Fat.
But it blew their mind, do you know what I mean?
Oh, tremendous. So that obviously Chewin the Fat comes and goes. For one of everybody's most favourite sketches for Chewin the Fat was the old boys sitting around the table and talking about the back stairs lavvy and singing the songs. And you know, my mum loved it. She absolutely loved it because it would hark back to the times when she would remember like her mammy and all of that having all the family around, and they would sing the types of songs.
Yeah.
Right. So that then gave birth to Still Game, and you took that to the stage.
Yeah.
Now Still Game, I was mentioning Chewin the Fat was a cultural phenomenon, right? Still Game is so far beyond that. I mean, I know a lot of people who have worked in the wrestling industry who are from America and over there, they absolutely love it. They love it and they can't get enough of it. And when you were doing the stage show, they were gutted that they couldn't come over and see it live for the live farewell. So what was life like at that time when you were doing Chewin the Fat? I mean, I'm pretty certain you can't walk down the street, but see the fact that you were in disguise, was that like you were dressed up, was that a wee bit, was that did that help you avoid the clamour in the streets and stuff like that?
You mean when we were doing Jack and Victor?
Yeah, Jack and Victor, yeah.
I mean, you would meet people all the time who genuinely were. I mean, it's a big compliment to the makeup team because we all thought everybody knew this was young people playing old people. But you would often meet people who'd be like, "Oh my God, you look so much younger in real life." And you're like, that always took me by surprise. But it happened more than you would imagine. You know what I mean? It happened a lot. But no, we've always had amazing, love for that show, and it's been. I think, a lot of actors will tell you if you're involved in one thing like that, you're lucky. You know what I mean? How often do people get involved in 2 or 3 things like that? You know what I mean? So, no, we had a blast.
But if Still Game was a football team, what football team would Still Game be?
Man, that's a good question.
They're all about the same age as the Rangers players are now, right enough, aren't they?
Probably Rangers, because the Rangers, I don't know, are Rangers going through a transition now? Are they going to do a lot lot and selling over the summer, Grado?
I think it's maybe more Celtic are going through a transition, aren't they?
Oh my
God.
Are they ever? Yeah.
Nightmare time. But
where's the manager? Where's this Eddie Howe character? What's going on there? They get Champions League qualifiers in like 10 weeks. Where is he?
I don't know. You're not working just now, Greg. You're not fancy the gig, no?
Yeah, I just be like that. Little triangles, boys. Little triangles. Keep the ball moving. I'd be like that sketch we did in Chewin the Fat all those years ago.
So tell us this one then, Greg. When you were filming Still Game or Chewin the Fat or whatever, was there ever any football talk backstage? I know obviously Paul is a huge Celtic fan. So was there ever any talk backstage, any barbed comments or anything like that?
No, there wasn't really. There's a few diehard fans in there, and as I say, there was a time when I traveled to see a good few games and whatnot, but basically, most of the team, not all of them, there was a lot of Celtic fans in there, and if Celtic lost, there was nobody to barb, you know what I mean? And and if they won, then people just chatted away, you know what I mean? Just like any other workplace, any other workplace at all. Have you still got
a WhatsApp group?
No, I don't think we do actually. I think because we started before all that shite, Chris.
That's it. Surely it's not an out of sight, out of mind thing. You know what I mean?
No. In fact, Jane, she came round to visit us in the garden a few weeks ago. I hadn't seen her. She brought her wee dog. I hadn't seen her for a long, long time. She was looking great. And yeah, it's not. We spend so much time together. It's not the kind of situation where we're all sort of like in each other's pockets. It doesn't really work that way, especially after 20 years, Mm-hmm. And that way, if something does come up, and you end up in each other's company, you have lots to catch up on. I think Paul and Mark and Jane were talking about taking a show on the road where they were going to talk about their experiences from the show.
Oh, they were doing that with Ross Owen, weren't they? Were they not doing that with Ross Owen?
So, yeah, and I think that I think the pandemic might have paused it, but hopefully they'll be at some point they'll get their heads together, and because I think that'd be a fun show for Still Game fans.
Like a retrospective kind of thing.
Yeah, just everybody's different memories and different all the hijinks that we all used to get up to. It was we used to have a lot of laughs just sitting around, just a lot of laughing. The seven of us were very much on the same wavelength in terms of our sense of humor, which made the show, like if I go on a show now and I've got a day on it or 2 days, I'm really nervous. But when you were doing a show like that, because you were in so many scenes and you're with your buddies, it felt like a documentary almost. You know what I mean? It was.
Do you know what I got a kick out of? When people on Twitter dissect old episodes of Still Game, and then they realise that the continuity and everything is. You get it every other day, don't you? This. Yeah. How come that? Tam was this and Fingway was that, but that doesn't make sense because in the New Year's episode. How you handle that well, man. It is funny with these pictures with Jack and Victor, the skull, man. I love it.
Well, you go through different things, like if people ask you if the show's coming back, I just put a picture of Jack and Victor as skeletons, which was from the Hydro show. We did a little bit in the very last Hydro show. The show ended with Jack and Victor fading out and all the other characters fading out. And we started the Hydro by saying to the audience, right, we're dead. And we're going to show you, would you like to see what happened to us? And they're like, yeah, let's show us what happened. And we put up this picture of these two skeletons with the hats on, the bonnets and all that. And I've still kept the photo because it always made me laugh. And it was we never filmed that show, the Hydro shows, the last two of them, we never filmed them. We wanted to make them uniquely a theatrical experience. So it was fun, the doors were closed and we were having a good laugh. And I've still got that photo. But yeah, you get people coming on Twitter and whatnot. And I'm quite in admiration, actually, the amount of times people watch stuff, fans tend to know the show better than the people that wrote it or the people that are in it. And so you'll get somebody asking a perfectly legitimate question about when in the episode Hatch, when you go through that door to Jack's, that would take you right outside the building. Look here, I've got a drawing of the
schematics.
The schematics of the building, and I'm looking at it like it's like fucking Die Hard or something. I'm like, I can't argue with that. You know what I mean? He's right. So you try to come up with colourful answers. Somebody once said, Frances once said she was vegetarian, so how come she ate beef bourguignon? And I was like, well, she was 66 when she had the baby. The doctor said, look, you're anemic. You need to eat some fucking beef. So that's why she ate beef. And
that brings me to the question that everybody wants to answer. What the fuck happened to that Wayne?
Sam's Wayne, eh?
What happened? Just give a final answer that way that you can tell people, go and listen to Football Daft. I answered it on there.
He got adopted by a family in Bearsden, and he became the Fresh Prince of Bearsden. I don't know, Chris. But I mean, no. The true story, and we Gary Spence asked us this, and we told him the true answer. And the true answer was that when the show came back, it was going straight onto BBC One, and up until that, 7 years previous, it'd been on BBC Two throughout the UK. But there was things that we did, like the pub had changed to the name of Jenny's. And you and Angus, our producer, said, look, I think you need to change it back to the Klansman. And I think that you're going to struggle to have a story with Tam and Frances having a baby because it's been 7 years and people watching this show for the first time will be, why the fuck do those pensioners have a baby? What the hell is going on? So that was two little storylines that we just kind of quietly parked, and the show carried on. And I kind of love that people were going to ask me to, till I'm 90, where's Tam's Wayne? I kind of love it.
So you just in about the writing now then, aye? Is this what you're doing constantly, waking up, getting something to eat?
Just in about the writing, and messing about with some ideas for new sitcoms and whatnot. Working, with whoever, you know what it's like. It's like you have an idea, you call somebody up, you want to work on this. So I guess for production, the pandemic's certainly in theaters. A lot of my friends haven't worked in the theater for over a year, and it's been heartbreaking and really hard. A lot of people I know have been turning their hand to developing ideas because development has been moving along quite briskly during that time. So here's hoping in the next couple of years I'll have thought of something funny again. But in the meantime, I'm just like a fucking hermit.
There's been a few rumours going about recently that Jack and Victor were actually going to make a comeback in a podcast format.
I called that. I called that as well. I said that. We were talking about the radio.
can you shed any light on that for us?
I don't. We get approached occasionally to do a podcast, and I think, I mean, Ford, I wouldn't want to speak for Ford, but we do tend to be like-minded in our opinions. We both sort of feel that, you know, the shows kind of came to a natural conclusion, and we don't, you know, you don't want to keep, like, we've got this whiskey coming out, you know, and we're really excited about it and stuff. And that felt like a natural evolution for the characters, you know, to sort of go on a podcast and kind of keep, I don't know, just kind of keep going over it. It didn't really feel too rewarding for us, but who knows in a few years' time, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll do something like that. But at the moment, it's like the shows speak for themselves, you know what I mean? The episodes speak for themselves. I don't think they need to be dissected by me and Ford, you know what I mean?
But that would be interesting, but I know you don't want to rip the arse out of Still Game, right? However, sitting round about and talking about all the stories with the cast members and stuff like that, you know, making a podcast style, a bit like how The Sopranos, how they've got their podcast where they pick an episode, they dissect it. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. How many listeners and view? Do you have viewers or listeners? Is it both?
400 a week, mate, something like that.
I think that the most that we've had for one episode was around about 2.5 million.
Aye. Who was that for again? Dick Campbell?
That was Dick Campbell, aye. So you've got some big shoes to fill, Greg.
So somewhere between 400 and 2.5 million.
Aye. I think it was everybody that was at Kelvin Brawl.
It's like that Real Madrid versus Eintracht Frankfurt game, isn't it?
Aye, everybody in Scotland was at that game.
Everybody in Scotland, and my dad was at it, but then so was everybody else's dad. You know what I mean?
Oh, amazing. So, listen, have you never thought, I know that maybe yourself and yourself and Ford maybe don't want to bring the characters back, but have you ever thought about putting a wee bit of trust into a couple of younger actors and maybe doing a prequel show?
Well, that would be really cool. You know, it would be cool to, we at some point tried to develop an American version of it, which was really good fun. We worked with a wonderful writer called Duncan Birmingham, and he wrote an amazing still game script set in Boston, you know, and it was fantastic. It was so strange to read it, you know, and go, wow, this is like, it's like still game, but it's different. It's its own thing, you know. If two young writers came along and said to us, we want to do a version of this show, come and see that. Big Benny, do you remember Big Benny?
I remember Benny well, yep.
Come and see that.
Is he there? Oh my God, look
man.
at the size of him, man.
He's
a man.
Jesus Christ.
He's a man. What are you saying to him, Ben? You all right?
Good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
You can grow a better beard than me, man.
What are you doing with yourself, Benny?
No, I'm just trying to get a job now. Just get past all this.
You want to do a podcast?
Why don't you do a still game podcast, mate? I'll bring you on. I'll bring it. There you go. That's a young Victor standing right there. That we were just talking about. Give him the acting job.
People would watch that show and go, "Fuck me, young Victor's really tall, isn't he?" The guy playing football, 6 foot. Anyway.
Is Ballamore coming back? What's the deal?
Oh, Ballamore, you need to ask Jules about that one, Grado. Yeah, oh man, they all get on great. That was such a fun show. I did one episode of that show, and I remember when she auditioned for that, and she showed me the format and the concept of the show, and I thought that's going to be big. You know what I mean? And and it was on digital TV for a little while, and the BBC were trying to push the tweenies, and Alan Yentob, no less, was in the meeting, and he went, why don't we push this show? It's doing huge business on digital. And within a week or 2 weeks, it was on BBC Two, and the show just went huge. You know what I mean?
Aye.
And my boy loved it. My boy was mad for it. And I remember when I walked into Oran War, and I seen Jules, I was like, holy shit, man!
But these main shows, they stand the test of time, but don't they? Because they can be shown whenever.
And kids remember them, and they, you know, like they used to have in the nursery, they'd have a bunch of kids working with all the main characters, and occasionally a couple of times a year, Jules will be in a park or something like that, and this giant boy will lumber towards her and go, "All right, Miss Hooley, all right, how you doing?" I was in the nursery. I was 4 at the time, and Jules is like, "All right, son, how you doing?"
I actually got Jules to do a video for Cian because Grado done one as well. He wasn't eating his dinner at the time, so I get Miss Hooley to do a video for him. And if you don't eat your dinner and you this and that, the next night he's like ramming it down his throat.
And it's funny how these things stick, because the makeup girl had said to Jules, "What do you want to do for Miss Hooley's hair?" and she said, "Do you know that video, Groove is in the Heart by D-Light?" And she was like, "Yeah, I know that." And she remember that girl's got that kind of lampshade hair, and she went, "I'd love my hair to be like that." And then I think poor old Jules was about an hour every day after that, getting the thing stuck into that position and sprayed and all this. But these little things really make kids shows, because they're little iconic images and stuff like that. Kids love them and they remember them,
Absolutely. So what's it? You mentioned the other day when I asked you to come on the show a couple of weeks ago that you were busy writing. So what's the next project that you've got on the go?
Oh man, honestly, I'm not being evasive or anything like that, but I've been tinkering away with various ideas for about 2 years since the hydro, since October 19, and then of course, by March 2020, the shit had hit the fan. And so I occasionally put in an idea to the BBC and whatnot, but I'd be lying if I said it's going to be this, because it probably won't. It'll be something else. So I'm going to just keep developing away for the next wee while, and I feel semi-retired, which is a nice feeling for a writer. If you got to go and do something, then you're going to go and do it. But I won't do it until I've got something, solid, or I spoke to Ford and say, "What about this?" Or he calls me up and goes, "Hey, we should do this." We'll see what happens. But we're like sticks in the river, just floating down the river at the minute, Chris.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
So,
well, every week, Greg, we usually do a 90-second football quiz. You up for that, mate?
Oh, fuck me. Excellent. Yes. I can't promise you I'm going to get any right. I'll probably get as many right as we did in the still game quiz.
Well, hold on, right? I'll tell you the rules, right? You might be up for this, right? So every week in Fit My Daft, we put our guests' Scottish football knowledge to the test with a 90-second quiz. David Martindale, the Livingston manager, he's at the top. He's got a score of 16. Joint second, John Sutton and Chit Young with 15. Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley are in third with 14. Other selected scores include Johnny Watson, he's on 9. Grant Stott and Barry from EastEnders is on 4. At the bottom, it's a tie between Peter Lovencrans, Derek Johnson, Craig Levine, and Mick Sue Patalainen on 3. Greg, is there anybody that you want to beat?
Craig Levine.
Right.
And all this shit housery.
It's a good laugh, isn't it? Come on, he's a good laugh.
Oh, he's a good laugh. He's a good wind-up merchant, isn't he?
Aye. So basically what happens is there's 90 seconds on the clock, and here's the deal, Greg, you can't pass. You need to give an answer, right? You need to give an answer.
Now, it doesn't need to be the right answer, but you need to give an answer.
It would help.
I understand. Okay. Fuck me. This is going to be tough.
Right, who's doing the questions? We'll ask the questions.
You do the questions. I'll send them the answers.
Seconds. John, are we ready?
Yep.
Scott Sinclair joined Celtic from which current English Premiership team?
Southampton.
Which former Scotland international is now Man United's technical director?
Fucking Andy Robertson, I don't know.
How many Scottish clubs has Stephen Naismith played for?
4.
What was the name of your character in Katie Morag?
Oh, fuck me. That's not a football question, you son of a gun. Big fucking Billy, I don't know.
Who were crowned champions of League One?
Your dad's team.
Man. Oh, Thistle.
Who was the permanent Hibs manager before Jack Ross?
Healing.
Which American team does Lewis Morgan play for?
Tampa Bay Rowdies. I think they're
In which series of Still Game does the episode Smoke on the Water appear?
I'll go for series 5.
Name the 2 Premiership teams that begin with the letter H.
Give me that again, Grado.
Name the 2 Premiership teams that begin with the letter H.
Hearts and Hibernian.
Name either player in the Scotland squad who plays for Southampton.
No, not a fucking clue. I'll go for fucking the Chuckle Brothers. I don't.
Who was last season's Scottish Premiership top scorer?
Was it Edward?
What is Winston's surname?
Ingram.
Glenn Middleton is on loan from St Johnstone.
Time.
I'll finish the question. Glenn Middleton is on loan to St Johnstone from which side? Toll, stop trying to give him the answers, mate.
If Chris wasn't here, I'd be struggling. Rangers.
Hey! John.
Brilliant. Let's go through the raw answers, Greg. Scott Sinclair joined Celtic from Aston Villa. Darren Fletcher is now the Man United's technical director. Stephen Naismith, 3 clubs, Rangers, Kilmarnock and Hearts. Your name of your character in Katie Morag was Donald. Who was permanent Hibs manager for Jack Ross? Paul Heckenbottom. Lewis Morgan plays for Inter Miami, David Beckham's team. It was Hibs and Hamilton, not Hibs and Hearts in the Premiership.
Oh, of course,
technically, Hearts have won the league, so...
That's it. Well, it was the current Premiership team, so I can't give you that one. Stuart Armstrong or Shea Adams you could have had from Southampton and Scotland squad. Glenn Middleton, we'll give you that one at the end. So, totaling up your score, you're above Craig Levine, you're on 5, you beat Barry from EastEnders. Well done.
Hello there.
By the way, that was an intense quiz, boys. That's.
I can tell. Fucking Andy Robertson. Fucking.
There was more swears in that quiz than there was in the whole length of Still game. Greg, really appreciate you coming on the show, mate. Thanks for giving us your time today. Best wishes to the family and whatever you're doing going forward. I hope it goes well for you, mate.
Right.
My pleasure, boys. Good luck with the rest of the.
Cheers, Greg. Hopefully see you soon, mate. All right, pal.
See you. All right.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Call them now on 01698 767 172.
Right, Trips, what about that then, Greg Hemphill, eh?
He was brilliant, wasn't he? No, seriously, but well done. Told that was you that managed to get Greg on, so that was good to hear.
It was touch and go for a second, but we got him. We got him in the end.
It's good to connect with somebody that has the same amount of football knowledge as me, mate. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I think you should do one of these football quizzes at the end of the show one week.
I'll do it. Mate, listen, who won the pie off this week? The pie off? How the fuck you call it?
The pie off?
You know what I mean?
Pie the cunt off, no? Just pie them off.
Anyway, so hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. I'm going to take this time to basically say there's a Patreon. If you want extra content, sign up. It's patreon.com/football daft. You can get the video version there, the outtakes, the teammates, because we've done a wee teammates with Greg Hemphill as well, and he kind of gave some funny answers. And then we've obviously got Rangers daft and Celtic daft. And then obviously, if you can leave us a wee review, subscribe to us on Apple, all the rest of it. And it's at Football Daft across all the social medias. Anyway, hopefully Bob's back next week. Until then, catches.
Catch.
Audio Frontier.